Hi there. I finally got my stuff today for the Ghia. I've been waiting for 3 months, so let's unbox it and see what everything looks like. I have not opened it. Like I said, I've been waiting for 3 months for this because of COVID and whatever else. So I'm hoping this is pretty cool stuff. That's my cam gear. I really needed that first, just to get the block back together. But the main purchase are the heads. Looks like 2 boxes. Well, there's a cat. Never saw a box he didn't like. Let's say this, they got plenty of packing. Alright, these are from Mofoco, M-O-F-O-C-O. And they look nice. I guess they cast their own stuff, and I'll definitely say they look pretty dang nice. I opted for the stainless steel valves. They've got a little longer thread for the spark plug. So far I'm pretty stoked, they look nice. It's almost like Christmas. Been waiting since before Christmas. All right. Yeah, I think that'll work just fine. Like I say, they cast their own heads, made in USA. I went with the L41 heads. They have several different types, sizes, whatever. The intake ports look nice. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with them too much. They put some added cooling fins and stuff too. So I think it was worth the wait. We'll find out when they're on the car, of course. But yeah, I'm thinking that's alright. Well, now I can work on my car. That's kind of cool. So let's go do that. Alright, so I thought I'd just do kind of a quick comparison. These are the stock heads that were on the motor. These are a single port. That's where it's just got the one port. And obviously these are dual port. More air, more fuel, more power. Like say your spark plugs, these aren't out of here, but they do have a longer thread, so less likely to pop out. Both of these are made out of aluminum. You can also see the cooling fins here. This has more cooling fins, so hopefully cooler head temperatures, I guess that's the idea. These are just old and dirty, so I'm going to use the bales from these to put on here. Of course I'll clean them and such. Let's turn these around and we'll look at the other side of them. Yeah, so here there's a big difference. I don't know if you can see that. You can see how many cooling fins there are here versus over here. This is a lot. It has a lot more cooling fins. Exhaust looks about the same size. Just looking at those, there's the end of that one and end of this one. I went with these there was another, I can't remember the name of the other head, the number of it, but I went with these because I want to keep my heater boxes, but I wanted a little more performance. And the gentleman over there said this was the way to go with what I was doing with the cam I'm using and such. So you can see here, the exhaust valve is much bigger. You look over here, your intake valve is the same size, but your exhaust valves, these two are basically the same. Maybe a little smaller on the exhaust side. Actually, it is smaller on the exhaust side. So, excuse me, your exhaust side is the same, but your intake valve is much bigger. Flow-wise, I guess they're happening, we'll have to see. Mainly I'm just trying to kind of show you the difference in these versus stock stuff. Maybe not a true fair comparison because these are not dual port, they're single port. But pretty close, really. There you can see a lot of the design characteristics are the same. These definitely have a bigger area here because I've got bigger pistons than what this had. Bigger jugs and pistons. Big thing's cooling. Like I say, you can see there's a lot more cooling fins on that than there is on this. Deeper area here too on the other one. So more air flowing over the top. So that should help quite a bit. I don't know if that's much of a review really, but they look nice. I think they're going to be pretty cool. Main reason I bought these is because they were made in the US. Right there. Versus buying something out of China. Like I say, they cast their own stuff. And the guy was super helpful on the phone and such. I didn't know it was going to take that long to get them. So I was a little disappointed in that. But with all the stuff going on, I mean, you can't be mad about that. Worth the wait, I think. We'll find out once we put it together. And I also got a cam gear from these guys. This is my old one. That's my new one. And this is kind of hard to do with one person to compare here, but it looks to me like these line up like perfect. So I'm hoping no issues. Everything goes in good. I'm stoked about that. I had to have this thing so I could get my block back together. That's been sitting over there for months. So I'm going to get some preliminary stuff done today, film a little bit of that, and yeah, just go from there. Oh yeah, one other difference. These bolts came with my cam kit. I was worried about clearance a little bit. These little button type with the hex head, they just don't, I mean, you can't really see it, but they don't stick up quite as far. So they won't stick out as much. That should be a little better that way. And I screwed up my clips, or clip, that holds your bearing and whatnot on, or goes over the bearings. It actually goes right up here on this old crank. It goes right there actually. Anyway, I overspreaded it, so I had to get a couple of those. So that was kind of a hang up too. Alright, let's get putting some stuff together. Alright, so I'm going to put my cam gear on. Your timing mark, which is that little dot thingy, should be just the opposite of the lobe on the back. So I'll show you that when I'm done also. But I am going to put a little bit of Loctite on these. Looking at the specifications and online, it says to go to 18 foot-pounds on these. I just want to make sure they're going to fit. It'll look something like that. I'll come back in when I'm done and show you the finished thing. Alright, that was worse than I thought. Anyway, let's see if I can get the whole thing on camera here. So, timing mark right there, and Lube on the bottom, right there. I use a little bit of Loctite, a little bit goes a long way, don't need to use a ton of it. Now, I think I'm going to try and get that crankshaft kind of put together. So I'll clean all this area up and we'll set the camera up different and do that. Okay, so I'm going to put these rods on. I know that I set up my other old crankshaft over here, so I know which way to orientate the rods, orientation type deal. The little dash that's on this little raised part right here, those have to go down, which these rods don't have that, but they have a marking right there, so that takes the place of it, is what I'm told. So we'll put this on here and I'll get these torqued up. These are Unitech rods from CB Performance. What I read online is the torque spec is 29 foot-pounds, so that's what we'll go with. This is the assembly lube that I'm using. So we'll goop it up. No, maybe not. Maybe I need to undo that first. A lot of guys are using motor oil. Assembly lube to me is the stuff. Like I say, it is goopy. Man, look at that. If you look at it, it won't even run. I mean, just barely. So I'm also going to put some on the journal, which again is probably too much, but I don't know if you can have too much. God, man, that stuff's sticky. You're supposed to be torqued to 29 foot-pounds. I already said that. And that is not the right way. Yeah, that stuff's sticky. So sticky it took the bearing off. Wow. Alright, let's try that again. So really, this is supposed to go to the bottom. It needs to go like that. I guess some people used to put these in backwards on purpose. I don't know why that is. Probably some speed freak deal, I don't know. Man, that stuff is sticky. Other thing I need to do is put some a lot of people say not to put Loctite on it, but I'm going to put Loctite on it. Just a small amount. I already measured all this stuff once before. I don't want anything coming apart, so I'm just going to put a small dab on there. It's kind of cold out here, so this stuff isn't really moving much. Good or bad? It's not working. It's very good. A little light goes away also. Alright, so I'm set for 29. And here we go. I'm not going to go all the way at first. Kind of go evenly back and forth. Make sure everything moves, of course. basically halfway right there. Now we'll take it back up to the 29. Not much to that, is there? Okay, there's one. It's pretty much repeat all the way through. I'm just making sure this thing spins. Like I say, it's pretty goopy. There's very little side wobble. I'll also measure that. It's the one thing I didn't measure when I did it. Alright, so the next one will go that way. And you can see I put the, what do you call it, the numbers on the bottom. Some of these are kind of hard to get apart. I had a hard time getting them apart before. Which is probably overkill, but whatever. Just like I say, it just gets everywhere. Just like so. And I'm being pretty careful, as you can see. A couple of these didn't want to go together very good. This being one of them. So I'm going to pull it together first, and then I'll come back and retorque it. That's pulled together. Now I'm going to take those nuts back off and put some Loctite on there. Seems weird to me, it's supposed to be 29 foot-pounds. I have thought about buying a digital gauge. Or a digital torque wrench. I probably should, but just haven't gotten that far yet. Checking to see how they go around here as I go. They're not going to spin real fast because it's cold, but they do spin evenly, so that is good. Alright, so both out, and the other ones will go in. These rods are really close balance-wise. I'm using a cheap scale, but I was within, I don't know, less than half a gram type thing, which is awesome. What I measured heavier, I'm putting towards the flywheel. I mean, it's such a small difference, it doesn't really matter, but. Alright, so that's the rods I'll put on. Next we'll get a couple of the main bearings put on, the one up here, and then the gears for the crankshaft, all that kind of thing. These do spin nice. I mean, this stuff's really thick, but everything's really smooth if you turn them. Same even pressure. So I'm hoping everything's cool. On to the next thing. Okay, so I'm now heating my gears up. My camera died, so I'm using something else. This is going to take a little while to heat up, so I'll get this other thing set up and then we'll show you how these go on. I've got the timing marks up. I don't know if you can see that. I guess you kind of can, the two little dots on the bigger gear. So yeah, we'll just heat these up and we'll see if they slide on or not. I don't even know if I'm close here. I have no gloves. So there it goes. Now I need a drift. We'll try it here. Well, I think we're down. Cool. Alright, then our spacer goes on, like so. Not the brightest thing I've ever done. Well, it seems like it dropped on there okay, huh? I guess. Feels like it's a little bit too far down. But I think we're good. Alright, well, I'll let that cool and see how that turned out. It looks like it's home, so I'm just going to tap around it slightly just to be kind of safe. Yeah, it's down. That looks fine to me. So I'm going to let that cool down for a second. And it shouldn't take long for it to get on there. Shut that hot plate off. Okay, I think it's on. Okay, next thing. Alright, so now I'm going to put my bearing on. On the bottom, like so. That looks good. This goes on like so. And that looks weird, but I guess that's right. And then this little Woodruff key goes in after that. That's what keeps that in place. Alright, so looks like we're done with that. Crankshaft's all assembled. I do need to put the bearing on the bottom, down very bottom, and of course the half bearing, but that goes in the case anyway. Alright, so the crank's all done. Everything's all set up. These move really nice. They don't flip spin because that stuff's so thick, but they move equally the same tension. Really, like say, I see people flip them around, but they're using oil. I use that thicker assembly lube, and it just won't do that because it's a little cool in here too. And I wanted to kind of show you the difference. There's the old crank. You can see it's not counterbalanced. This is a stock 1600 crank. which I think is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with this crank. I just wanted to upgrade the motor a little bit. That's a stroker crank, counterbalanced. Yeah, as you can see, a couple differences there. So, I think that's it for today. I appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, and have a good day. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.